Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to With the Braintrust. We are a bi-monthly networking group that meets now via Zoom, but we're a bunch of business owners that shares our knowledge with each other. And over the past, I guess it's been about a year and a half, we turned the first half in the meeting where we network and we discuss issues and problems that we're facing as business owners. And then the last half of the meeting, we're turning into a presentation / information where we can just help out other business owners and entrepreneurs that need some help. So without further ado, let me introduce the Brain Trust today. First, we have Ginny. Can you give us an intro?
Sure. I'm Ginny Kanzioka, graphic designer and artist. I help my clients communicate who they are, what they do, and most importantly, how they are able to help their clients. I work with them to design logos, business cards, marketing materials, signage. Signage is a particularly pet peeve of mine because people think they have to put everything on it, and it really only needs to have the most important information. Thank you.
Can't see it all driving by 45 miles an hour. It makes sense. David.
Hello, everybody. My name is David with I Am Your Virtual Professional. I get businesses found.
Excellent. I'm Michael Rattay, Ballbrain Creative, photos and videos to share your story. And then our presenter this week will be Lida. Can you give us an intro and then just jump right in?
Yep. Hi, Lida Bunting with Znimka Creations. I'm a professional photo manager. Today, I'll be talking about online privacy and security, which is something I encounter when I am dealing with clients' photo collections that are stored all over the place. So welcome, everybody. I know just enough to be dangerous. So I am a privacy advocate. It was a training that I was able to participate in as part of the professional organization, the Photo Managers. So there are things that we were taught about online security as well as photo safety. So I'm going to share some of that with you, some myths, and some things that you can do for yourself, for your clients, for your family to stay safe online. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to talk about some myths. So I'm going to bundle myths 1, 2, and 3. Nobody knows me. I'm not that important, and no one wants my info. Here's the thing. It doesn't really take that much for someone to hack into someone's email or one of their social media accounts. And once a bad guy's in, they can wreak havoc on those accounts. And spoofing an email address is actually quite common. So the average is like $5.3 thousand, so $5,300, that people have to pay the bad guys to get their stuff back. So even if you're not that important in your own mind, the bad guys don't care. They're going to spoof and they're going to take you for what you have. So a quick way to check on emails, a spoof email appears to be coming from someone you know, but if you click on the address, you'll see that it's really not them. So sometimes it helps to just pause. If something doesn't feel right in your inbox, you'll want to think before clicking on any links. All right, myth number 4. It's just a photo. And I'm going to get into this a little bit further. Data. There is so much data associated with photos, locations, names, dates. All that stuff travels with photos. So whether you're texting or emailing a photo to someone you know, that photo, once it's out, it's out. So bad guys can then use that information and potentially do harm. And for sure, don't ever post pictures online of like your driver's license. You know, like people when their 16-year-old gets their license and they're holding the picture. You don't want to do that because there's information in there that they can like blow up the picture and get it. School IDs, babies at hospitals. These are things that bad guys can start building profiles. And unfortunately, it's out there. Number 5, it's just Facebook or it's just Instagram. Well, you know what? Again, let's go back to number 4. There's information in whatever you're posting. And it's public. So once you share it, it's beyond your control and you can take a screenshot. So I mean, even if you have your privacy settings set on Facebook and Instagram, people can take a screenshot of it and share it, and it's still out there in the world. Um, so as far as like business stuff, myth number 6 and 7. Oh, I just have a small business. I'm not going to be a target, or I really don't have that much money. Hackers aren't going to go after me. Yeah, they will. They're going to go after the smaller guys than the bigger guys. 46% of cyber attacks target small businesses last year, and the average ransomware cost small businesses $5,900. So again, you don't have to be Taylor Swift or someone famous. It's the smaller ones that have more vulnerabilities. Myth number 8, it's okay to share my password with my family, your client, your friends. No, you really shouldn't. Although this morning with our teenager, we were asking her for her password into her phone, but that's different because that's family. But friends, just don't share your online passwords. Myth number 9, you don't need a strong password. My password's 8 letters and a number, and it's totally fine. No, no, it would only take a hacker about 5 minutes to hack that kind of password. They're using AI nowadays, and they run these things through programs, and they can decipher your password very quickly. So I have a whole slide about passwords because there's some cool, fun tricks that you can use to have a strong password. And myth number 10, public Wi-Fi is safe. It's not. And I have a slide on that one too. Do not use public Wi-Fi, even if there's a password protecting it. Your own personal hotspot or VPN is the way to go. All right, so a couple things on your phone. And I'm not going to go like I was going to pull out my phone and just go step by step, but I'm just going to talk about these super quick. So location services, this is something that you can set in your private. A lot of these are in your privacy settings, and I am an iPhone user, so when I'm talking about these, I'm primarily talking about how to navigate them through the iPhone, but I'm sure an Android has similar services. But location services, you want to set these for while using the app, not necessarily always. And actually, you shouldn't ever have it be set to always. But like for me, as a photo manager, it's helpful when my clients have their camera set to location services being turned on when they're using the app so that we can find where their photos are being taken. They don't need to have it set to always. So make sure that you go through your location services and choose which apps have access to your location. And then the ones that don't need it, set it to never. Tracking, this is something that allows you to manage which apps can track your activity across other companies' apps and their websites. So what you want to do is you want to block the setting because it's going to restrict apps from sharing your behavior. Like when you go look at something and then 5 minutes later you've got an ad for that in Facebook, that's being done through tracking. So you want to manage that, and that is also another setting that you can set up in your settings. App permissions, this reviews and can revoke access to your camera, to your microphone, your contacts, and your phones. So something like Facebook asks for permission to all of your photos. Facebook doesn't need access to all of your photos. So you want to restrict that, because if they have access to all of your photos, they're doing stuff with those photos in the background that you don't know about. And so you want to make sure that you are choosing which apps have access to which of your data. There's an app privacy report that you can enable on the iPhone, and it shows you how often apps are using their permissions. So when you're in your privacy settings, go and turn that on, and you can see what's being tracked and what's being used. There's also another setting that you can turn on. It's called stolen device protection, and that adds a security level to prevent thieves from using a stolen device. So even if they know the passcode, because there's biometric authentication like your thumbprint or your face that's going to be required within if your phone has traveled too far from one of their regular locations. So your phone knows your habits. And so if a bad guy takes your phone and is using it outside of certain parameters, it's going to get locked up, which protects you. Account recovery. This is something you want to set up with someone you trust. if you forget your password, which we all say we won't, but sometimes we do because we're so reliant on our facial recognition, that you set someone up that you trust. I think they have to be over the age of 13, but someone you trust who you name as your recount recovery person. And that is done through settings. Then you click on your name and then you go into sign in and security account recovery. And then you add your recovery contact. And then same thing with legacy contact. It's basically the same thing as account recovery, except it's in the event that of your own death, that someone can get into your phone if they're set up as the legacy contact. Because people pass away and then everything is locked on their phones and people can't get it. So those are some settings that you can set up on your phone to keep your devices safe. So let's talk about photos and social media. This is kind of a hot topic for me because I see so many different photo collections and people have pictures of credit cards. They have pictures of their licenses. I've seen pictures of social security cards. You don't want those in your photo libraries. If you need to take a picture of it, delete it right away and then delete it from the deleted. But people say, oh, it's just a photo, it's just a Facebook. Like I said on the myths, there's so much data associated with your photos. And so, you've got your location, you've got the date, you've got who was taken, who's in the picture, what their ages are. And then bad people can build a profile. And I know that just sounds so like doom and gloom, but the reality is there. So I have some examples here. We've all seen pictures of people posting first day of school pictures. And the one here actually isn't that bad. I've seen one where you've got the name of the school, the name of the teacher, what you want to be when you grow up, what your favorite class is, what your favorite activities are. And then, some man comes up, hey, Sally, your mom called and asked me to pick you up and take you to dance. I have my kitten in the car. So we just have to be vigilant that we're careful about what we're sharing. And I know that we're all very careful, but I just want to caution that we should be even more careful. Vacation. Everybody loves to post pictures on vacation. So here's an obvious one. We're at Epcot and we just took this picture and now we've posted to the world that we're on vacation. So aside from letting people know, hey, my house is empty, you're also letting people know what your habits are, what your hobbies are. When people go on vacation, they stay at a resort, then they've got like a bracelet for the resort. And if you take a picture of yourself zip lining, not only are you showing that you're zip lining, but you're now showing where you're staying. And so or if you're on a selfie, you take a selfie of yourself on the plane, heading home from an amazing vacation. Well, now you're not reachable, but a bad guy can call your parents and be like, hey, Sally's in trouble and she needs $5,000 while you're blah, 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 blah. So you really want to be careful about what you're posting. So what you want to do is not post while you're on vacation or post them in a password protected gallery that you're sharing with just family and friends. Because you really want to be careful about what you're putting out there. And then also teach your children, the young people in your lives, teach them good habits so that they don't do this. Actually, I think my kids have better habits about posting online than I do. All right, let's talk about passwords. I have a book, I have a password manager. It's so hard to remember. And, I used to have one that I used and I would add a number and an exclamation mark and just alter it slightly. You're not supposed to do that. So a strong password, 18 characters, one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, a number, and a special character. And I know it's overwhelming to remember all of these. Like this picture, it could have been me holding my head. So there's password managers. You have a password manager on your phone. You have a book. You can have it on your computer. There's Passkey now on your phone that will, create this unique key that's for you and for that website. So I have an example here that is Actually, kind of a fun password. Don't use this one. I'm not using it, but we don't want everybody using it. This is 19 characters, but it's easy to remember. My dog likes to dig dirt. Great. The O is a zero. Every first letter is capitalized. The I's are exclamation marks, and the two is a number two instead of spelling it out. So if you do something like this, like let's say you have a saying that you say to yourself, you have a mantra or something, and you turn it into this, then you can use that as a password. And it's 19 characters. It would take, I had a stat here. Strong passwords take an average of 400 trillion years to hack. Now that's current day. Who knows what will happen in a year when AI gets even better? But let's just think about the hackability, an 8-character password versus 18. So start using something that's a little bit stronger than I love my spouse so much, exclamation mark. Like you just want to be better. All right, let's talk about public Wi-Fi. We all use it. We all go to a coffee shop, we go to Starbucks, we go to the airport, and we see that there's a Wi-Fi set up and we log in. Okay, well, they're easy to spoof. You don't know who else is on the network. And if you're on the wrong network, like let's say you went to Starbucks 1 instead of Starbucks 2, and Starbucks 2 was the right one, or it could be someone who's tracking your every single keystroke. Um, I was at a conference and it was for the photo managers, and we had our security person, our privacy and security person there, and she had set up her own Wi-Fi network. And it was very similar to the others that were set up. So it was Hyatt Conference 1 instead of Hyatt Conference. And by raise of hands, half of the room had logged into the wrong one. And she's like, I can see everything that you guys are doing on your devices. And if I'm a bad guy, I now have access to your passwords. I can get into any website that you've been to while you've been in this conference room. I have access to that. So you really want to be careful. So what you can do instead, you can hotspot to your own devices. You can purchase a standalone hotspot, or use a VPN. And VPN is the safest, bestest way to go, but it's also probably the most expensive. So I'm kind of talking fast here, but if there's anything you take away from this, definitely go through and check your passwords. It is one of those things that can definitely save you. And in an email, pause, especially if it's something that you're like, I'm not sure about this. Pause at least 9-10 seconds before you click on anything, and then look and double check that the email you're receiving is from who it's supposed to be coming from. I'm mentioning here a data blocker. I have one right here. They're these little things. It's basically, if you're in a rental car, instead of plugging your phone into the device, you plug it into this, because that data port could be tampered with. And if you plug in your device into that data port, then the bad guys who tampered with it can have access to your device. So this little thing blocks data from transmitting. Your software updates, they're there for a reason. Usually there's some sort of security breach or some sort of security upgrade or an enhancement to the usability of the app. Just stay on top of your apps. Our phones tell us when our apps need to be updated. Stay up to date on those. And stay up to date on your computer updates. Your Mac, your PC, stay up to date. And then limit what you are sharing online. We love to share our lives, and there's a place for it. Just be mindful of what you're sharing. I have a couple resources here. For those of you who have kids, there's a website called Be Internet Awesome. They've got games, they've got a Roblox thing, so make it fun for the kids. Then there's some federal, national cybersecurity articles, information on what you can do to keep yourself safe. And then I recently listened, Mel Robbins is a podcaster that I listen to pretty frequently, and she had one with a cybersecurity expert, and it was quite informative. So if you listen to Mel Robbins or if you listen to podcasts, I would check that one out too. It was pretty interesting. Um, and then I also have an email series that I send out about it's just little snippets of information about how to stay safe, primarily while traveling, how to keep your documents safe, what you can take pictures of, how to post, things like that. So if you're interested in subscribing to that, it's every couple weeks. It comes out super short. It's just like a quick little intake. Oh, I should do that tip. Okay, I'll do that. So that's coming out. And then if you want to learn more about your iPhone and tips and tricks, I do have a live session coming up this Thursday at 2 o'clock. So that's it. Here's my contact information if you want to reach me. But stay safe out there. It could be a scary world.
It is. And I think, thank you so much, Lida. I think a lot of this is that you may hear things in passing, and then sometimes people get riled up and they just go and post everything because they're so excited about vacations and whatnot. So to give the extra reminders on a lot of that stuff, I've even seen local police officers, they were doing the proper way to post those, back to school photos there, because now, there's a lot of information that could be used nefariously.
Oh,
so it's
so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Thank you. Thank you
That
for
was
the
a great
presentation.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
You're welcome.
Put it on LinkedIn. I think so people could really learn.
Yeah.
I'll get on that.
She's gonna kill me.
No, I know. I love your enthusiasm. I just get overwhelmed so much with all the
I hear you.
posting.
Yep.
It's true. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
But
that's
really,
a whole nother
what you're
conversation.
saying about the spoofing emails, I fell victim to it too. So it could happen to anybody.
Yes, those are all, it's good reminders because and that's especially with all the photos. That's a lot of good reminders. I think the travel thing is one of the earliest things that I've heard, but I still see a lot of people like, all right, just starting our trip overseas.
Right.
It's like, dude,
yeah.
I trust maybe 90% of the people on my list, but there's still a couple that, you got to be cautious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And one of the things that I had heard in this Mel Robbins podcast, it was the one where, someone posts, oh, heading home from my trip, boarding my plane. And then someone who, bad guy calls the hotel and is like, yeah, I'm so-and-so. I just checked out of my room and I meant to do, they're just wreaving havoc on that reservation or adding stuff to it or, then they're going and they're like, we want our room back. We're going to be right back. And just, you could do so much. Or they call the parents and say, hey, I heard that Sally's in, Mexico. She ran into some trouble. I'm her friend. And they know all this information. And the parents are like, well, I can't reach her. She's on a plane. Oh, that's okay. I'll get to her. Bad people find ways. And we're giving them a lot of information.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's what's
on the news last night that Taylor Swift is copywriting her voice and her face.
She should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she totally should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that's more AI stuff, but it's still important. And these reminders are great. So, I will any other last thoughts, Ginny? Do you have any privacy thoughts or no?
No, I'm going to have to figure out how to do some of this stuff because I don't do a lot of that. So,
well, and that's the point of this presentation. So thank you, Lida, because I think it's stuff we may have heard, but to have someone refresh it and remind us. So thank you so much for doing that. thanks everybody. And we will hopefully see you in another 2 weeks. And thank you so much, Lida, for the presentation.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure.